Welcome, everyone, to Rutgers at the Voice of College Football. If you like this show, hit that like and subscribe button. Coming off of a big win over Maryland, 31-17. Rutgers goes to 6-4 on the season as they get ready for Illinois. On this show, we're going to talk about Illinois, give you a prediction about whether Rutgers is going to beat Illinois, and talk about who the top 12 teams are in the country. But before we do that, there's something I'd like to say about Rutgers football and the state of Rutgers football at this point. We know that Rutgers started out 4-0. We know that Rutgers has historically been at the bottom of the conference that it's played in. Okay. They start out 4-0 this year. Then they lose 4 straight. They lose to Nebraska 14-7. They lose to Wisconsin 42-10. They lose to UCLA 35-32. And then they lose to USC 42-20. They come back with 2 straight victories, including the last one against last one against Maryland, 31-17. So Rutgers is 6-4. And after the Rutgers victory, I was watching Coach Schiano's press conference, and I was actually also watching another Rutgers show in which the panelists were celebrating Rutgers' victory over a 4-5 Maryland team and saying how pleased they were with the state of Rutgers football. Well, I'm going to take the opposite approach and tell you I'm not pleased at all. Because 6-4, while good, it's not good enough. Would Ohio State be happy with a 6-4 record? Would Georgia be happy with a 6-4 record? Okay. Would Alabama be happy with a 6-4 record? Would Ole Miss be happy with a 6-4 record? Would Texas be happy with a 6-4 record? I could go on and on and on. Okay. Hi, Dariel. Good to see you. The season so far hasn't met my expectations. No, it has not. Because 6-4, while good, just ain't good enough. And Rutgers, it's about time that we have higher standards and higher goals for our program. Coach Schiano is one of the best coaches in the country, and Coach Schiano is a great man who has turned around Rutgers not once, but twice. All right? But Rutgers deserves better than this. And I don't think we should be here celebrating a 6-4 season thus far. Okay? Now, on that other Rutgers show that I commented on, the panelists criticized me and said, "Oh, your expectations are too high. Just be happy that we won tonight and went to 6-4. Nonsense. My expectations are not too high. Yours are too low. 6-4 isn't good enough. Rutgers should be a nationally relevant program. Rutgers should be competing with the Ohio States, the Michigans, the Georgias, the Alabamas, the Mississippis, the Texases. And they're not. And let me give you some context. When I grew up in New Jersey, and I love the Garden State, I grew up, in the mid to late 80s and went to high school in the early 90s at Bergen Catholic High School in Oradell, New Jersey. Bergen Catholic is one of the best programs in the state and has been nationally ranked year after year, just losing to IMG this year, 27-17. Now, when I was in high school, most of the great football players didn't go to Rutgers. They went to other schools, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Michigan, Nebraska, Florida, Alabama. Why? Because they didn't respect the Rutgers program. They said Rutgers loses too much. Rutgers is always at the bottom end of the conference. Okay? And that was true. And thanks to Greg Schiano, and Coach, I say this sincerely, thanks to Greg Schiano, from 2001 to 2011, Rutgers was turned around because he did a fantastic job in coaching and recruiting. And we had some very good seasons. When Coach Schiano left, we went back to the bottom again, as is the history of the program. Okay? And then, after the horrible Chris Ash era, in which we were at the bottom of the Big Ten, which we've been historically, okay? Coach Schiano comes back on and is changing the program yet again. And in my opinion, should be considered for Coach of the Year. But to get to a point where you are going to compete with the Buckeyes, the Bulldogs, the Crimson Tide, all right, the Longhorns, you can't be celebrating 6-4. There's nothing to celebrate. All right, progress isn't good enough. Perfection is good enough. This team should be 8-2. This team should have never lost to Nebraska in Lincoln and should have not lost to UCLA. And the players should be held to a higher standard. Do you think Nick Saban would tolerate a 6-4 record? I don't care how poor Rutgers has been in the past. I don't care about the historical context. I care about right now. Would Bear Bryant be okay with this? Would Kalen DeBoer be okay with this? Would Lane Kiffin be okay with this? Would Steve Sarkisian be okay with this? No. So when I see other Rutgers shows and I see them celebrating and toasting to a 6-4 Rutgers, it makes me think that they are dedicated to one thing and one thing only, mediocrity. Well, that's not me, and that's not this show. Congratulations to the players on the victory over Maryland. Congratulations, they did do some very good things, and they deserve credit for that. But let me remind the players and Rutgers University that 6-4 is not going to cut it. Every year, Rutgers should be competing for a playoff spot, particularly because there's 12 teams in the playoff now. All right? The playoff committee has Boise State in there. Why shouldn't Rutgers be in there? Because we are suffering from low expectations and a resignation to mediocrity that has permeated this program since its inception. All right? Fans at Rutgers don't have high expectations because they are so tainted by the history of the program. What they don't realize is that Schiano turned that program around from 2001 to 2011 and had us playing on a nationally relevant level. Well, to get there again, Rutgers University, the football program, the athletic director, and the damn coach cannot be happy with a 6-4 record. It is unacceptable. And the only way that Rutgers is going to become a top 12 football team, the only way that Rutgers is going to be in the playoffs is if they start upping the standard for the players, for the program, for the fans. Now, you may disagree with me, and that's fine. I don't particularly care because I am sick and tired as a New Jersey native and someone who has cared about Rutgers his whole life, not only to see us underperforming, but to see us being happy with improved performance. I'll even quote Brian Kelly after the LSU-Alabama game in 2023 when he said, "We played good tonight. Good's not good enough." Same principle holds true here. Good's not good enough. 6-4 is not good enough. And in the future, next season, the season after, why don't you take a look at Kurt Cignetti and Indiana? Indiana, a roster filled with 3-star players, 10-0, going into Columbus this weekend to face the Buckeyes. Likely going to have a playoff spot. Are the players in the roster in Indiana any better than Rutgers? Marginally at best. I would argue no. They're 10-0, we're 6-4. And I don't know about people, the people I know from New Jersey, we have high standards, and our standards are perfection, not improvement. Our standards are championships, not progress, okay? Our standards are beating the best, okay, not beating the average. So I do not join with other Rutgers shows and fans who are celebrating a victory over a sub-500 team. Now, how are we going to get better so that we are 8-2, 9-1, so that we get the attention of the playoff committee, and so that teams like Ohio State, Michigan, Indiana, Oregon start getting a little scared about playing us, especially in Piscataway? Well, I've said it before, and I will say it again. We need better players. It's that simple. You have great players coming out of Bergen Catholic High School in Oradell. You have great players coming out of Don Bosco in Ramsey. Where are they going? They're going to other Division I schools. They should be coming to Rutgers. You need to get more 4- and 5-star recruits. Currently, Rutgers has the 29th ranked recruiting class in the country. 29th, consisting of only 4 4-star players and 23 3-star players. Now, that's not to say that you cannot develop 3-star players. We see that with Iowa. Iowa has a history of developing 3-star players and competing at a high level. But they don't compete at the highest level. We don't want Rutgers to become the next Iowa. Rutgers needs to get better players. And how are you going to do that? Well, this goes back to Rutgers University and their commitment to the football program. We're in an era of NIL. And in NIL, you can buy players. That's precisely what we need to do with these kids coming out of high school. Okay? Bryce Underwood just got a $10.1 million offer from Michigan over 4 years. You know what Rutgers should do? Double it. Give them $20 million. Outbid the big schools. But to do that, you're going to have to dedicate the resources to doing that. And you're going to have to make a commitment to Rutgers being one of the best teams in the country. I'm not so sure that Rutgers University has made that commitment yet. They need to make that commitment. Coach Schiano deserves it. The players deserve it. The state of New Jersey deserves it. Buy the players. Spend the money. Because once you get 1, 2, 3, 5-star athletes, guess what? More are going to want to come. It's going to create a domino effect. You need more 5 stars and 4 stars. Number 2, you got to hit that transfer portal. Last I checked, Miller Moss was in the transfer portal. What is Rutgers doing to get Miller Moss? There's other players in the transfer portal who are pissed off that they didn't start at Alabama their freshman year, or at Ole Miss, or at Florida, or at Texas, or at Oregon. Go into the portal and get those players and spend the money. You have to get them. That's the only way you're going to be competitive, because there's only so much development that you can have. At the end of the day, talent is a prerequisite to successful development, both for being at the highest levels in college football and ultimately going on to the NFL. You need both. Right now, we have the coach. We love you, Coach Schiano. You're fantastic. All right, we can't wait to have you on the show, and you have done a fantastic job for this program. You got the coach, but you don't yet have the players. You have to buy the players. Then you have to buy them out of high school, and you have to buy them from the transfer portal. Next thing you need to do is, when they're there, you need to develop them. You need to make them into NFL stars, so that when you're on the recruiting trail, you can say to high school players, not only are you going to be financially secure by the time you get out of Rutgers, not only are you going to have a great academic degree, you're going to have a future in the NFL and be a better player and a better person for having gone to Rutgers. It's time to make Rutgers' brand compete with the Ohio States. And the idea, as I saw on other shows, that Rutgers fans are happy with a win over Maryland and happy with a victory with a 6-4 record? Not me. Not me. I have higher expectations, and so should the program. And if students, administrators, and fans of Rutgers are going to be happy with a 6-4 record, then the future for Rutgers will not be successful. It'll be more of the same, and it will plateau. So, I really don't have much more to say about it. Yes, I congratulate the players on their effort. They've worked hard all season, fought through injuries, and they deserve credit for that. I'm proud of them. But 6-4, while good, is not good enough. We need better players. We need to buy them. We need to develop them. And we need to create a track record of putting those players in the NFL and making them better players and better people. That's the ingredient to take Rutgers not only to the top of the Big Ten, but to make Rutgers a national championship contender. So I'd love to hear your comments about regarding my thoughts. The link is in the chat. Feel free to call in. But as a New Jersey native, I can tell you, we're not satisfied with being good. We always strive for perfection. What I would have liked to have heard from Coach Schiano after Maryland and today in his presser for Illinois is that, we're 6-4, but I'm not happy about it. I'll never be happy with 6-4. I want to win every game. And 6-4 is not good enough. I didn't hear that. We need to expect more, and we need to be more as a team.